Tijd nu voor mijn eerste gast.
In de jaren 70 brak hij door met Genesis. Daarna ging hij solo, werd een ster over de hele wereld en verkocht miljoenen albums. Met megahits als Easy Lover en In the Air Tonight. Alles wat hij aanraakt verandert in goud. Een geniaal muzikus en een meesterlijk drummer. En vanavond is hij hier.
Dames en heren, we zijn echt vereerd. Mr. Phil Collins! Well, you have to admit, Phil, that is a nice, warm welcome from your fans.
I could get used to that. I could get used to that, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you get used to? Can you get used to that? Are you comfortable with this level of sort of admiration, of sort of worshipping? Are you comfortable with that?
Well, yeah. No, it's you know, I always feel a bit inadequate. If you go out on stage or something, you know, people are coming to hear the songs, so they got something that they know they're going to hear, you know. But if it's just you, you kind of feel people saying, I thought there'd be more than that.
Right. Is that for me?
This,
you think it's for somebody else from the next to you?
Yeah.
You but you deserve it, man. You deserve it, Phil. Doesn't he deserve it, this man?
I put in the hours anyway.
You did. But it's so admirable. I mean, the longevity of your career, it's just amazing. Because we had Lionel Richie on a couple of months ago. I mean, he's similar to you when it comes to that. He just keeps coming back. He never disappears, really. And you know, whenever you think, okay, well, you know, we've heard enough of him, or he's not coming back, or, you know, he's had a fantastic career, bam, he comes with a great song again. The same with you.
Well, you know, you do kind of, you tend to take yourself, I tend to take myself out of that marketplace, you know.
Right.
I mean, there was a time when MTV first started, you know, or I remember when Genesis were around, you know, originally, before MTV started. If you can imagine a world without MTV and all that music television, you know, that was what the world used to be like when dinosaurs ruled. And, and you know, so now I'm flattered. I mean, I just read something the other day, Akon, A-K-O-N?
Yeah,
you know,
the artist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of his favourite singers. Now, I was only told about that. I would never have found out about it unless someone had told me. But I'm thinking, well, that means I must be doing something okay.
Yeah, the new artists like Akon, and you'd probably never heard of Akon.
Well, I've seen the name, but I've never heard his music.
You thought it was a venereal disease or something?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Another one to add to the list, yeah.
I spoke to Phil before the show, and you're actually writing down my silly jokes.
Yes, I was. I thought if I ever need silly jokes, I'll come to you.
Yeah. Well, I have a long list, and there are more coming up. By the way, I mean, you are a very humble man, and I'm not just talking about the way you dress tonight.
Sorry. I didn't have my bag with me. It's one of those things, isn't it? Because this is actually the real me, you know? I mean, if I came on in a suit and everything, you know, people would say, yeah, he's dressed up for the thing. But this is me. This is what I woke up this morning, got dressed in, came on a plane, got here, and this is it.
But just to check, you were aware that this is on
TV show.
Yeah. You are aware of that, Phil.
This is, you know, I grow this now. There comes a point where actually I start to look like, you know, a tramp. At that point, I shave it a bit, but this is intentional. This couldn't give a shit, Phil. This is actually intentional.
But I mean, you do have that vibe a little bit, because I mean, you are really one of my favorite artists of all time. And everybody who's here is a big fan, because I spoke to the audience before the show as well. And so I'm honored to have you on the show. And you're a big star. But I've had big stars here on this red sofa, but they've never been as underdressed as you have. You literally look like you just rolled out of bed and came on my show.
Well, I take that as flattery then, if I just, you know, if I'm different.
Yeah, but you must have made like a conscious decision at a point in your life. I'm not going to dress up. I'm not going to do all this. I'm just going to be me wherever I am, whatever I do.
Frankly, yes. I mean, I get invitations to things, even if it's, you know, I have been involved with the Prince's Trust and Prince of Wales. Even when it says, you know, dress suit, or morning suit or black tie, you know, I think, yeah, but that's everybody else. I'm a drummer. You know, drummers don't wear dress suits, morning suits and black tie. They come in a suit, you know. Right. You're lucky to get me in a suit.
Right.
I gotta say. So I tend to sort of not to go by the book when it comes to that kind of thing. And of course, actually, I was at Prince Charles's and Camilla's wedding.
You were?
I was there, yeah. And
you were in the church the whole ceremony?
I was in the church, yeah. Because, you know, I've worked with them for a long... Not her, but with him for a long time. Mm-hmm. But it did say morning suit on the invitation, which is, you know, like...
To you, that's pajamas.
Or nothing, or nothing. So it was tails, you know, and I said to the guy at the Princess Trust, I said, do I really have to get tails? He said, well, you can probably get away with it, but, you know, we've all got to do it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I turned up, and I had a black suit, which is a nice black suit, an expensive black suit, and a black tie, a very expensive black tie. But a regular tie, you know. Anyway, everybody else had morning suits on. Every man in that church and at the reception had morning suits on. And this comedian came up to me and said, going to a funeral, are we? And I started to explain to him. He said, I was only joking, my dear boy. But I really felt out of place, and it was one of those times when I should have really dressed, like now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Collins, we're chatting away here, but look at, we made a nice little montage about your career and your life. Kijk naar Phil Collins in 2 minuten.
Phil Collins is de meest succesvolle Britse popster aller tijden. Veel groter dan Robbie Williams en ook pop-icoon Elton John wordt door Collins overtroffen. Met zijn solo-albums en die van Genesis verkocht hij, hou je vast, maar liefst 314 miljoen exemplaren. Zoals superhit Susu Studio. Geen enkele andere artiest was in de jaren 80 en 90 zo succesvol als Phil Collins. Je kon hem gewoon niet ontwijken.
Globally, I had an amazing success rate in the 80s. I mean, you just couldn't get away from it.
De nu 55-jarige Collins had al een drumstel toen hij 5 jaar oud was en maakte zijn ouders en buren stapelgek. Maar hij had talent op meerdere terreinen, want hij was ook nog fotomodel en acteur. En hij had op zijn 15e al een filmrol.
Dad, you said I could have a cow of my own. Can I have this one?
Maar toch brengt de jonge Phil steeds meer tijd door in duistere nachtclubs en besluit om muzikant te worden. Op 19-jarige leeftijd komt hij in contact met de beginnende band Genesis en wordt de vaste drummer. Maar pas als hij daarvan de leadzanger wordt in 75 wordt Genesis een wereldband met een enorme rij hits, zoals I Can't Dance. Dankzij hem wordt Genesis een van de meest succesvolle rockbands aller tijden. Collins staat bekend om zijn perfectie en bijna duivelse fanatisme. Want naast Genesis begint hij in 1981 ook nog een solo-carrière. Met direct een megahit. In the Air Tonight is nog altijd een popclassic. Over de betekenis van het nummer doen heel veel verhalen de ronde. Maar het is eigenlijk geïnspireerd op zijn eigen leven. Collins was toen net gescheiden en zwaar depressief.
You know, instead of going out and getting drunk, I would actually sit down and write something. Then I get drunk.
De Britse superster scoorde hit na hit. Easy Lover. Against All Odds. En het prachtige One More Night. I Wish It Would Rain Down. En niet te vergeten... Een van de hoogtepunten in zijn carrière is natuurlijk zijn bijdrage aan Live Aid. Waarbij hij op 1 dag zowel in Wembley als Philadelphia optrad. Hij speelde met alle groten der aarde, zoals Sting en Eric Clapton die dag. Phil voelde zich als een kind in een snoepwinkel.
I can play with him, and I can do this and I can do that. I'm happy.
Halverwege de jaren 90 voelde Phil zich niet meer thuis in de muziekindustrie en stapte uit Genesis. Maar solo bracht hij nog steeds succesvolle platen uit, zoals Can't Stop Loving You. Ook kreeg hij een paar jaar geleden een Oscar voor zijn filmmuziek voor Tarzan. Met daarna de musicalversie. Maar verder geniet hij op dit moment vooral van het goede leven. Een waanzinnig applaus voor een van de grootste popsterren aller tijden. Hier is Mr. Phil Collins.
I'm mesmerized. Just mesmerized by that string of hits. It's unbelievable. I mean, you must be a little bit impressed when you
I know,
hear
it's like,
yeah.
it is something that... I hate to go on about this, but you don't actually, you know, you don't wake up and say, hey, dig me, you know, just dig what I've been doing all my life. You know, you just get on with the next day, you know, and it's like, you know, changing the 2-year-old's nappies or making sure that, you know... So it's not often that I hear that stuff one after the other, you know.
Right.
And so, yeah, of course, it's a lot of memories. It's a lot of great
Did you see
moments.
yourself performing at the X Factor final?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, talk once again. We have to, then we'll stop talking about it. But you woke up. They told you you're going to be on the final of X Factor, which is a, you know, it's a huge show in the Netherlands. And you go, sure, I'll perform there, and I'll put on a tracksuit.
Well, I had two outfits. It was this one and that one. So I thought I'd save this one for you.
You look like you went to a friggin' Manchester United match.
I know.
That's all right. But we'll get
that's
back.
true,
We'll stop about the dress.
Okay.
Drumming. Tell me, isn't that also? I mean, I can imagine. I don't drum, but I mean, looking at you. Actually, we have a clip of you, you know, being in sort of an intense trance. Let's take a look at the drummer. That's got to be therapeutic.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
The feel of that, I don't know where that was. That might have been a Genesis thing with Chester, but every tour we've done with Genesis has been a double drum thing. And every tour I've done a double drum thing, whether it's been with Chester or my other drummer, Ricky Lawson, before. It's just one of those things where there's nothing... I could get up there and just play on my own, you know. Mm-hmm. But really, the power of two guys, not playing... fighting each other, but playing as a unit is incredibly strong, and it's always been one of the big highlights of the Genesis show. And it's one of the you know, I started my last tour off with that, you know, and after that it was like, forget the rest of the stuff, you know. I got to sing now. Oh God, you know.
Well, it's a famous story, and you don't have to tell it again. But I mean, you're being the drummer, and all of a sudden becoming the front man. Yeah. You never intended to be a front man, did you?
No.
You never wanted.
No, I mean, I used to sing in my school band from behind the drums when I was, you know, 14, 15. But I just never wanted to leave the drum kit. But literally, we were faced with a situation where, with Genesis, when Peter left, and we auditioned singers and we couldn't find anybody, we either had to stop or someone had to sing. And so I started to sing one song after the other in the studio. And then we made the album, but we still didn't have a singer. So
the first time you had to step up to the mic in a concert, that must have been like the most nervous ever, right?
Yeah.
You must have died like 10 deaths.
Yeah, that was in Canada. It was London, Ontario. And I remember it very vividly. I mean, I was more nervous about talking to the audience than I was singing, you know. Because singing, I know that I could just stand there and sing, you know. That wasn't the hard. What was hard was being the personality man, you know, doing the Rod Stewart thing, the Freddie Mercury thing, even Peter, you know, he was a quiet guy, Peter, you know, but he comes alive in front of an audience. Yeah. And I just had never done that. I'd always had a drum kit between me and the audience. And
a little safe haven.
Yeah, a little security blanket. And they took that away, and I had a microphone stand. And it took me about 10 years to take the microphone off the stand. This little pole became my security blanket. I'd hide behind it, you know.
So when you went solo, when you went for a solo career, I just got to ask you this, but did the record company ever say to you, well, Phil, I mean, that's great, you a solo career, but, I mean, you got to change your appearance a little bit. Did they ever suggest a toupee?
No, they didn't, although I got sent an awful lot of hair treatments. I did, I got inundated. I guess it must have been the mid-'80s, you know, when the peak, if you like. But I get stuff sent... packages, Helsinki hair treatment. You know, one of these things, and I got it quite regularly, and I'd say, what do they want me to do? I mean, suddenly I arrive with a full head of hair. That is just as suspicious as having no hair.
It's like Phil Collins with an afro.
Yeah, you know, what's wrong with this picture? I mean, it never bothered me. You know, I've never been... You know, I've never been a George Michael kind of thing, you know.
I hope not for you.
No, but, you know, it's just unfortunate choice, OK.
But nevertheless... No, not been like that at all in your life? Shall we take a listen to, have a listen to some of his hits? Ja, we even luisteren naar een paar hits, ja. Let's start. Let's see if there's a story behind some of the classics. But in the air tonight, let's kijken.
Well,
classic, and it's always in those, you know, those annual lists that we have here on Dutch radio. It's always number 2 or number 1 or number 3. It's like an all-time favorite. I mean, let's clear this up once and for all, because I still hear people on the radio, all these DJs talking about, well, it's a song about a friend of Phil's who was drowned, but that's not the real story, is it?
Well, there is no story actually, which makes the story that is told even more ridiculous, because there's every time I go back to America specifically, there's another thread to this story, and it just keeps, it's like Chinese whispers, it just keeps getting farther and farther out. But the last version I heard was that I did actually witness somebody drowning, and I saw the guy who was with the person that was drowning, and he didn't help him, and I kind of followed him home and found out where he lived, and I invited him to the concert. I put him in the middle of the first row and I sang the song to him, and, you know, it was like the Blues Brothers, and the police came in and took him.
That's a story that's actually being told on the radio in Holland.
Yeah. Well,
not true.
No, it's not true, no. This song actually is sung by American football players. They play at American football stadiums before the kickoff. And all the players go around, I can feel it coming. I saw a documentary on it, and I was like, God. And they interviewed the guys and said, well, what is it about? And they said, well, I hear Phil heard this guy, saw this guy drown. And then, so it's, you know, it's everywhere.
It's like an urban legend now.
Yeah, and in fact, the lyrics were improvised. See, that's what makes the whole thing so ironic. I was going through a divorce, yes, at the time, and I was angry, I was upset, I was, you know, all those emotions that at different times of the day will hit you. But I just put the microphone on, you know, play and record, and I sang those words, and then I wrote them down. So they're all spontaneous thought, all completely improvised. And so I don't know what it's about either. You know,
really?
I have no idea what it's about. It's just completely improvised, straight off. You could tell that someone's.
This is so sobering. This is so sobering because I mean these stories about this song, they're just everywhere around the world. There's like a.
Yes, if it was like...
It's about nothing. You don't know what it's about.
If it was like, it's a girl drowning, I'm afraid you got the wrong idea. It's not a man, it's a girl drowning.
Yeah,
And it was her mother that didn't help, you know. Then there's a kind of a thread that's just wrong.
Why don't we launch a new story? That'll be fun.
Yes.
It's about this Dutch talk show host who you were so
He kept insulting my dress.
Yes, who kept insulting your dress.
And I kind of nailed him in the car park.
Yeah. And now he's no longer in the air tonight. Hey! So you've written a lot of songs for movies, and we're going to talk about Tarzan, and Ron Link is going to come out and perform a song for us, but from the musical. But you've acted as well. I mean, did you get a kick out of that?
Yeah,
acting?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I kind of stopped, I think, was because there came a point in my life when I went through my second divorce, you know, and I met the person that is the mother of my 2 children now, and we got married, and I moved to Switzerland from England, and I didn't want to leave home, you know. I really got a bit hammered by all that stuff, the press stuff, and I just didn't. My agenda in life changed, and I thought, well, if I'm going to do another movie, that's going to be 3 months away. I don't want to be away from my home. I've got a nice little life here, you know. I don't. So that kind of I closed that door myself, because, you know, to be an actor in films, you have to go away, and, you know, it's only an hour and a half in the cinema, but it's like months making it.
Yeah, you wanted a more family-type lifestyle.
But I'd like to do some more at some point.
Can I say this to you, even though it sounds so weird because we've never met before, and this is the first time you're on the show. We don't know each other, but I've just followed your career, and also, of course, your private life is mentioned in the papers and all that. I never thought you would divorce again, like the third time, because that relationship, to me, just from the outside, looked so nice. I've seen you've been interviewed together, and it looked sort of so comfortable. Yeah. That must have been a very difficult time for you, that it happened for...
Well, I'm just as surprised as you are.
Yeah, really?
Frankly.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't something I wanted. I didn't want a divorce, you know. My wife did.
Because I could tell that you were so in love with her, and you loved her so much, and you're the mother of your children. So
yeah,
and so
as I kind of thought I'd been there for the last time, frankly, and you know, obviously I hadn't. And I get more and more frustrated as my life goes on. I've got 5 children, you know, and I'm not a real dad to any of them. I mean, I am a dad, of course, to all of them, and I'm as good a father as I can be to all of them, but I'm not a traditional "I'll see you when I get home, Dad," you know, and that really upsets me. And I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old that I miss terribly. Fortunately, I see them as much as I can, you know, which is not every night, but it's as good as I can get, you know. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I kind of wake up some days and think, what happened? How did that happen? You know.
It was that much of a shock to you as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
It was just that's very unfortunate. Well, we'll hope you'll find love again. Will you marry again?
No.
Or is that no? No, that was a quick answer. That was quick.
I don't see any point, really.
No, I can imagine. But
I don't know. I mean, it's not to say I won't have a relationship. I mean, I'm very happy with someone now, but I have no intention. Well, you know, I wish this had never happened. That's the fact of the matter. But I've got to get on with my life, and so I'm happy with someone now. But frankly, I don't think anybody would take me seriously.
If you get married
again? If I get married again? No, I just, you know, I can be with somebody and have all those kind of feelings, all those emotions without getting married again. Right. I don't need any more children.
Because a divorce, it is very painful, isn't it? I mean, it's the most painful thing in the world.
You just think you've seen it all, and then suddenly you realise that there's another door open over there that you haven't seen the stuff inside.
But it's good inspiration for music, isn't it?
Yeah, but, you know, I just feel like everyone says, oh, God, another divorce, not another record. You know, I kind of feel like everyone says, not again, I can't handle it. So
not another album of love songs.
I'm trying to handcuff myself so I don't write anything. Right. I've written a couple of really good songs, I have to say, about that. But,
is that a good outlet for you, writing songs?
Well, yeah, because it just comes out, you know. And funnily enough, one of my 6-year-old's favourite songs of mine is one of the ones about this, which I think is very interesting, because he must be listening to the lyrics, because he's a very hip little boy, this Nicholas, and he listens to it and he says, I know what this is about, you know. I mean, it's interesting. Anyway, I will do an album at some point, you know, but I'm not in a hurry.
Well, Phil, it's fantastic talking to you. Stay tuned. We're going to take a short break, and then Ron Link is we're going to talk about Tarzan, because it premiered this weekend. It was a big success. I've only heard positive stories about it, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Meer met de one and only Phil Collins. Blijf hier, dames en heren. Met the legendary Phil Collins. And Phil, what was it like? What was it like to do Live Aid?
Well, it was... afterwards, I was very tired, but while it was happening, it was just like... You didn't have time to get tired, because it was, will you make this plane? Will the helicopter get you there in time to do this? Will you remember the songs? You know, will so-and-so... Wonder what Eric Clapton's playing, wonder what the Zeppelin people are playing. You know, it was a tremendously invigorating sort of...
So you started out in Baltimore, and then you took the Concorde back to London?
We started in London.
Oh, started in London?
Started in London, and,
That's right,
and with Sting and me, and we did a half an hour. And then I took a helicopter to Heathrow, got a Concorde to New York, and then got a helicopter to Philadelphia.
Oh, to Philadelphia.
And then did that show. And then when I was there, Ken Cragen, who used to be the manager of Lionel Richie, funnily enough, he was organising something, and he said, do you want to do one of the lines in We Are the World? And I said, sure, I'll do anything. You know, I'm here. Anyway, after I did my thing, and the Clapton drumming and the Zeppelin drumming, and I just like, I had someone unplug me, and I said, listen, I'm out of here. So, you won't have time to use this, but anyway, there's a... Cher was on the plane.
Cher?
Cher was on Concorde, and I'd never met her, and she came up to me, I mean, I'd met her on the one with the Oscar thing, but that was the only time since, and she came up to me and said, what's going on? So I said, well, it's a Live Aid, you know? She said, I don't know anything about this. She said, could you get me on it? So I said, well, no, I mean, you know, it's now, you know what I mean? And I'm sure if you go to the stage door in Philadelphia and say, hello, I'm Cher, can I come in? They'll let you in, you know? Anyway, so we get off the plane. I go to do this thing. And I say to Ken Cragen, I'm sorry, I've got to go home now. I can't do this song, this line of We Are the World. I've got to go back to New York. He said, that's fine. So I go back to New York, and I turn on the television where the last bit of it is on. And who's on stage but Cher? With a microphone singing. I mean, like, she must have said, I'll have his line. She got the microphone. Not only did she get in, she was on it, you know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Looking forward to this for a very, very long time in my career. I'm so honored to be... Well, that's great.
She's a sweetheart.
That's fantastic. All right, let's talk about Tarzan. Because that must have been a really challenging project when Disney asked you to do the songs for that movie.
Oh, for the movie, yes. Yeah. I'd never, ever done anything like that, and it's loomed large in my life, you know. Tarzan, I mean, the music, Disney music. My sister was an ice skater. She danced ice skated every Christmas to the Disney on Ice shows. I went to see them for every day for like 2 weeks because it was my sister, you know. And then my brother was a cartoonist, and his heroes were the animators. So like it was always in my life, you know. So when they asked me to do a movie, it was like, God, I've grown up with my kids, and now I'm being asked to join a club that
It's a real honor, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, you know, a big honor. And it wasn't, you know, a lot of people that aren't interested in Disney or haven't got kids, they say, it's a sissy kids thing, why are you doing that? You progressive rocker, man. But actually, actually as a writer, it's great.
Yeah, they turned it into a musical, and then it's playing New York right now.
It's in New York. It's been in New York for almost a year, and it's still doing great business. Yeah, it's still doing great business. I get the reports every day.
Right.
Emailed to me, you know, I look at what's happening, how many people are in there.
And you've really been involved in every, I mean, because you're in Holland right now, and you've actually been to Holland a few times to check it out and to see the progress.
Yes, I mean, I was involved in the auditions in New York for the whole thing for the first time, for the show, but when it came to doing it in Holland, obviously, you know, I wanted to be making sure that the voices were the kind of voices that I imagined my song should be sung like. Of course, it was a bit of a difficult process because it was in Dutch, and also I had other things I had to do. I couldn't just come here for 6 months like I did in New York. So, but anyway, I was involved in the selection of Tarzan.
And are you happy how it turned out?
Oh, yeah. I've been in and out since January, and I took my younger kids to see it last week, in fact. So,
but they didn't understand a word, did they?
No, but Nicholas... No, he's grown up with it, so he knows what they're trying to sing.
Have you picked up a bit of Dutch?
No.
No, nothing?
No, I will, though. My oldest daughter is marrying a Dutchman.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah,
okay.
She's getting married next year to someone called Stefan, and I'm meeting his folks for the first time.
Oh, right, really? Yeah. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah.
Are you going to be the mean guy who's like, really, you're going to marry my daughter? Really?
I'm going to be the Robert De Niro and meet the parents.
That is fantastic. Oh, please, let me film that. Let me film that for the show tomorrow. Well, Phil, it's fantastic because we have Ron Link, and you're happy with... Is he a good Tarzan?
Ron is fantastic. I mean, I was very much a champion. I mean, we all agreed, but I have to say that there was very little doubt. I mean, we had 5 people to choose from. The 5 guys, 3 of them are actually in the show. But it was a very strong, you know, bunch of people. But Ron just had that thing, you know, and he got the part. And I've got to know him reasonably well, and it's a great cast, and the people are very nice. They're very nice to me. I'm just Phil, you know, to them, which is good.
Well, you're not just Phil to us, you're Mr. Phil Collins. En let's just sit back, and because Ron Link is hier vanavond. En hij doet een nummer uit Tarzan die dus afgelopen weekend in première is gegaan. Dames en heren, hier is Ron Link met Verloren Verleden.
Het verloren verleden en deze stille getuigen, vage woorden en beelden, en ze spreken tot mij. Ik heb het altijd geweten, dat er nog iemand leefde in mij. Ben ik die ander? Of ben ik allebei? Zeg mij, kom ik hier dan echt vandaan? Is dit de bron van mijn bestaan? Wijs me de weg terug en zeg me dan wat ik moet doen, waar ik nu heen moet gaan. Zijn dit mijn ouders? Deze 2 zo verliefd, zo volmaakt. En zie ik in hun armen dan het kind dat ik kwijt was geraakt. Deze familie die me bang maakt en boeit, is niet de familie waarmee ik op ben gegroeid. Oh, zeg mij, kom ik hier dan echt vandaan? Is dit de bron van mijn bestaan? hun stemmen zacht en dwingend, fluisterend en zingend. En zo maak ik nu dan mijn keus, want hier kom ik werkelijk vandaan. Dit is de bron van mijn bestaan. Ik richt mijn ogen op de horizon, om eindelijk de weg terug te gaan. Ik zie mijn vader, kijk naar hem, en zie zoveel dat ik herken. En ik recht mijn rug zoals hij deed, en ik zie eindelijk wie wat ik ben. Ik ben een mens.
Fantastic. Yeah, see it. Wait.
Ron Ling! My God! It's big bad motherfucking Ron Ling!
Again, huh?
Hey, you were on the show again.
I dressed well, huh?
Yes, absolutely. We missed
Oh, dear me. Do you know how much this T-shirt costs?
Tell us how much does it cost?
No, don't worry about it.
Can't be all that much. Well, thanks for coming on my show, Phil. Next time you're in Holland, please stop by
I will.
again. Because there's so much more to talk about. What a privilege it has been talking to. Dames en heren, Phil Collins!